Hey everyone, I'm just here playing some Animal Crossing and talking about the topic of whether you should have a job in retail or how retail is, essentially. So the way that I got my job is through walking into the store in person and actually asking for an application. I didn't do any online application or anything, and there wasn't really an application really. I just went in and asked the manager like, "Hey, I like the position that you're um acquiring for what's the word? I'm not even saying this right, but essentially I asked my now manager that like, hey, I want to apply for this position of retail, and she was like, yeah, that's great. Just let me swap contacts with you, and let me just schedule a interview date with you, and from there we will be doing the interview process. And the interview process was a little bit underwhelming. I only say that because the only thing I did was just explain my skills and how I'm a fast learner, patient, and just I think general things that a lot of people say in an interview, whether it be true or not. Then from there, it was just a matter of, hey, I'll give you a call after assessing how this interview went and everything. Of course, I also mentioned at the time that I was in the process of starting my freshman year of college, since it hadn't been too long since I graduated, so from graduated from high school. So from there, I got a call saying, "Hey, when can you start? Like, when's the earliest date you can start?" And I was like, I don't know if it was the next day or 2 days after I got the call, but I was like, I can start very soon. And so when I first got to the job, I was handed out papers, I think a W-3 or W-2 paper. I don't know what type of form it was, but it's the one that you get whenever you start a new job and you have to put in all of your information, social and everything, and the form of way you want to get paid, direct deposit or check. And that was literally my first real job that actually gave me such forms. And I just felt like I was actually becoming an adult because I've never been given such forms. And I was just a little bit nervous. I didn't know what to put in, and I had to call my sibling to help me out because she actually my sister. I don't know why I said sibling, but I had to call my I had to call my sister first, and then she texted me all of the details that I needed to write down besides just the general things like social and form of payment. And after doing that, I felt so relieved because I really did not know what to put. And I gave my paper, my documents, and I didn't feel confident at all. I felt like something had to go wrong that I put in, then I'm just gonna get called by the IRS or something. Like, I didn't know how things work with all those documentations. If I made a mistake, if I'll get knocked on the door by the government or something. So I was just hoping that when the payday comes that I get paid. And I did miserable amounts of hours when I was working. Did like 9 hours a week or something because I had to commute so far away from work. It wasn't even it didn't even feel like it was worth even working that 9 hours. But when I first got my check, I was like, damn, I have money now to buy food at the one of the restaurants that my university had, like a Chick-fil-A, and I was like, I can buy my own chicken sandwich for myself and not ask my parents for anything. It felt good. work was going good and everything. I was trying to get used to talking to customers because I was at the time antisocial. By antisocial, I don't mean fully against talking, but I was introverted. And I got used to it over time talking to many customers. But one thing I did not know that came with working at a job is drama. I've always steered away from drama, but you know, we had a tailor. So our tailor always does all necessary alterations for shirts or anything in that sort for adding a patch or hemming a pants, adding reinforcements to a pants or maternities for people who are, you know, pregnant. And so there was some tension between the tailor and the older lady that I used to work with, just because I don't know. I don't even remember the issue. But in the end, the old lady who I worked with in the front that was also retail, she got fired unfortunately. I didn't see her that awful as a coworker. Of course, there's some hiccups here and there that I felt like kind of hindered our store or just the workflow at the store. But it wasn't as terrible because it turned out that we sooner. I act like I'm the one that fired Taylor, but it was later down the line that the manager fired the tailor, and then now we have a new tailor. I don't know if I'm even saying it right. I'll say seamstress. We have a new seamstress now, and I have two new coworkers in the front for retail. And I've been working for a few years now at that store, and it's just a little bit overwhelming because when I was getting the job, I thought I was just doing retail only, but I then figured out I had more responsibilities, especially after a few coworkers were fired. As I mentioned, I had to take on the responsibility of now billing everybody's orders that come into the store so that the store actually charges money to certain organizations that give their employees a voucher or pay deduct so that those form of payments get charged to those organizations to pay off the actual business. And then on top of that, I had to also record data through an Excel spreadsheet of just how much the store has made every single day. I mean, it is satisfying doing all of that because you see big numbers and stuff. I won't say how much the store has made. I don't know if that feels that feels like too much detail to be putting out. Not that it matters, but I don't know. That's just me. But it was pretty good amounts of, I don't know, profit, but just how much the store's made. And after working a few years, of course, you get those little increments of not bonus, but every store I think is obligated to increase your pay by a bit after X amount of time you've been working with them. So that happened, making decent money, but as I mentioned, it's overwhelming and it's becoming a little bit miserable in my job just because of the new two co-workers I have in the front. The new seamstress is amazing. She's really chill, and I really like to know our seamstress a bit more because she does her job and she's not talking about non-related topics in at work, like talking about guys or some really inappropriate things about customers. Because my two coworkers that I work with, they talk heavily about men, especially customers that come in that are men, and they just talk like high school girls. and it just really bothers me. It's so annoying, and it's distracting to my work that I'm doing. Not that I really, I mean, everybody puts up with it that gets in a job at any place. There's at some point in any job you get, you're gonna have to deal with drama or just people you dislike. But it's just every day. It's you know, and sometimes they just are on their phones when there's customers that they can handle. I'm supposed to catch up on paperwork and everything, so I'm so behind due to not only assisting customers, because we have to actually help them, walk with them to shop, because we're not set up to actually have them walk around picking out their stuff because they won't know and from any of those places at the store where their stuff is that they want to purchase. And that takes about like 15 to 30 minutes per customer to shop. Sometimes, if we're lucky, if they just need a few things, maybe 5 minutes. But on top of that, I have to do, as I mentioned, the billing and the Excel spreadsheets for the store because I guess that's how we get paid when I do the billing stuff. And I have to type so fast to the point where my fingers begin to feel numb. And of course, it is satisfying printing out so many things when billing after finishing, but it just kills my fingers and it's mentally draining, but also socially draining when I have to assist with customers. And, just providing good service, not giving attitudes or anything with customers, being polite, even though they're repeatedly asking me the same questions or ask a quote unquote dumb question. There's no dumb questions, but things about their job that they work with their organization. I mean, if certain clothing items are part of their uniforms, but especially with customers who are a little bit antsy or have an attitude, I try to give them the best, you know, customer service. Try to be understanding, especially for customers who come in um, a little bit annoyed or frustrated with a certain product of ours, and I just do my best to solutionize in a polite manner compared to my other coworkers who just have an attitude or just sometimes they just walk away for a bit, which I guess is fine at times, but you know, they also talk over customers, not letting them finish, and it's like try to understand them first instead of talking over them and still talk in a way that is not with an attitude. Because they have that sass attitude, and it's like that's why customers are upset, leave bad reviews at our location, and yeah, I've I've always had a hard time explaining things to my manager, like, hey, they're doing this and it's hindering my workflow and it's making me feel like I'm not in a good environment for working. Because our manager actually cares a bit about us and has explained to me that I'm a great employee and all that, but they could be saying that all the time. Um, People who are managers to anyone in any workplace, but my manager always has repeatedly mentioned that I'm vital to the store and grateful for all the things I do, which I do appreciate all the comments and gratitude. But it's just that my my workplace is becoming just more and more less enjoyable. Not that a job is supposed to be enjoyable or kind of feeling like peaceful. Of course, you're not going to have an environment that's suited for you and adapts to you, follows every idea that you had in mind, like you want it to be this and that. But I just dislike, as I mentioned, about how they gossip like high school girls, talking about customers, how they look good and everything. They always talk about hoping one customer comes in, and it just gets annoying. So if you want to work in retail, I'd say get ready for being responsible for multiple tasks because it may say one thing on the actual job application, but you'll be finding out sooner or later that you're going to be doing more things than just retail and deal with things that you never thought you would have to deal with. So hopefully that helps out with just kind of like figuring out if you want this job or not in retail. And that'll be it for the video. Thank you guys for watching and hope to see you guys in the next video.